Greetings, Earthlings.
Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Cheyenne. If you've watched before, you already know that. And I am currently, I can't even say I'm writing the first draft of my debut novel because I finished it. I'm currently editing draft 1, ready to do draft 2. And if you've heard me talk about it, it's very untitled. The working title of Project Unknown. He keeps asking me when I'm going to pick an actual title. So yeah, in this video, it's going to be kind of serious, a little bit sad, just kind of like a podcast episode. So I've got my husband Corey here with me, which I've spoken about him a few times on the channel. He's popped in here and there, and also if you do recognise his face, it's probably from our joint social media, so that is linked on my actual channel page. So without any further ado, let's get into what's been really going on behind the scenes in my life. It has been a lot, to be honest. How have you been?
Tired. Got out of the bath. And now I'm tired.
Sorry.
What about you? How you been?
Like today or just in general?
Let's just go today and then we'll go on to the general.
I'm doing okay today. It's been a busy but manageable day.
And a couple of days.
It's been a lot. It's been a very sad, very hard, nearly week. I'm slowly working my way through it, keeping myself busy, still allowing myself time to grieve, but still trying to do it in a safe way for me. Before anyone comes at me and says you can't work your feelings away, that is literally not what I'm doing. But I'm one of these people that the worst thing I can do when I'm upset is sit there wallowing. I have my moments, I'll let myself have my moments, and then I'll get on and do something, but I have to be doing both, because the worst feeling I can feel is helplessness, and I don't respond well to it. So for my own mental health, I do have to keep somewhat active and busy, while still allowing myself space and time to go through my feelings, which this one had known since, because if you don't know anything about us, we have literally known each other since we were 12. And got married when I was 23 and he was 22. There's 2 months difference between us. I was born 2 months before him, and our wedding was smack bang right in between our weddings, like our birthdays. Strange.
Cradle snatcher. Ha!
You're a lot. But I love you.
So, your book. You finished it.
Yeah.
Now what are you doing?
I'm currently editing the book. So basically I got through Office Works. It cost me quite a bit of money, but it was worth it. I got 4 copies of draft 1 printed. One is just for me to keep and untouched the way it is. The other one is just for me to go through and put in some edits, talk about where I need to add in more scenes or explain more scenes or what I can take out and improve. And then that will make writing draft 2 a lot easier for me, and then I have a copy for my mum and a copy for my nan.
How are you doing that with the loss of the family member?
If you guys don't know, I have spoken about this quite a bit. My nan was diagnosed with cancer about 6 years ago. Basically we've been dealing with her having cancer the whole time we've been together, and the funny thing was that was how we started dating. Actually, it wasn't my nan, but my pop ended up in the hospital for something, and to this day my pop jokes that I beat the ambulance to the hospital. I didn't. He was there in the waiting room in a wheelchair waiting for us, and Corey popped up at the hospital because he just wanted to hug me because he hadn't seen me since high school and it had been 3 years since then. And it was actually my nan that said, "So who's the boy out there? Who are you talking to? Go talk to him. Go hang out with him." I'm like, "Nan." So yeah, she had been battling cancer on and off for about 6 years, and near enough a year ago, she got the news that it had become terminal. It started off in the bowel, like there was a part of the bowel they had to remove, and then there was some spots on the liver, and then some spots on the lungs, and she was having chemo and it was keeping it at bay, but basically she was told about a year ago that it became terminal and she would have 12 to 15 months to live. So we brought our wedding forward. That way they could be at the wedding with us, because that was our biggest thing. We just wanted Nan and Pop there. She went oh god, I'm getting emotional. She went really downhill kind of quickly. She got shingles, which is apparently a very common thing for chemo patients, because their immune system is shot. They're more likely to get sick, and she ended up with chemo, and they gave her antiviral stuff that did not react well to her. She began hallucinating, she kept throwing up, she couldn't keep anything down, wasn't eating, and when the ambulance came and took her from the house, she was severely dehydrated, that they were worried that it had done damage to her kidneys. So then they took her to hospital, and she started doing a bit better, but then they gave her pain medication that she had a reaction to. And we think she had a UTI as well, which, if you don't know, in elderly people, UTIs can cause very erratic changes in their behaviours and their personalities. And normally, apparently, that's the first thing most people check for when there's sudden changes in an elderly patient is a UTI. Hospital didn't really listen to us, but this, in combination with the pain medication, she was getting quite nasty and stuff. Not to me, but unfortunately to my mum and my mum's sister-in-law, and yeah, it was just not good. She started getting better, she came home, she was home for 2 weeks, and she was due to start the chemo again, because they won't give you chemo while you're sick, because your body can't handle it, and they don't want to risk getting other people sick first. But yeah, basically, she came home, and then she went to pick up something off the floor, and she fell. She fractured her hip, which she had both hips done, like replaced. That day, the strangest thing, I was watching a documentary on the Bali 2002, was it?
Yeah.
The bombing. Like, if you've seen the series, you know what I'm talking about, but damn, it was emotional. I was crying on and off for like 3 episodes, and Mum comes in and I'm like sobbing, and she's like, Nan had a fall, can you? And I'm like, yeah, going. I stopped crying, and then I ended up there, and I was just supporting my pop, and we were helping the paramedics like move some of the furniture so they can get her out. She was in a lot of pain, and I didn't know that they gave people ketamine for pain relief.
Yeah.
So they're giving her the green whistle. She's like off her face and not listening to them. Then they give her morphine. And she's still in pain, and they're still trying to figure out how to get her off the floor. And then they give her ketamine, and I'm just looking at my pop, my grandfather, like, this seems like a lot. So she ended up back in the hospital. They put a plate and some screws in, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she had, like, staples all down her leg. She started recovering there. She went to the rehab place. And then she's doing videos. She's done to recover, and then all of a sudden she's laid in bed and her hip dislocated while she was asleep. My mum and I went up to surprise her, like to visit and surprise her, and she was in a stretcher bed waiting for the paramedics to come and get her. That was how we found out. And apparently the doctor that was there, when we asked where my nan was, like which room she was in, he said, are you her daughter? To my mum, and Mum's like, yeah, and then he's like, we've been trying to get a hold of you, this is what's happened. And he's like, oh my god. So they put her under, they manipulate it back into place, she goes back to the rehab. It then happened again. And so then she couldn't do video for a while, they went and fixed it, but they scheduled a hip operation because there was a part that wasn't fitting correctly and they needed to replace it. So she was on and off getting better and then not, and then because she couldn't have chemo this entire time because her body was too weak, we got a call saying that they thought she only had weeks left. And it was getting up to the 12-month mark. And so my mum straight away on the phone with her brother and first saying, you need to come. So we got to spend a week with her brother, which was really good. I love my uncle, like, it was great to see him, it was great to see him there, but we made him cry when we took him back to the airport. Like, I wasn't planning on hugging him and crying, I was just gonna be like... So I started sobbing and said, please don't leave, please come back. He's like, you know you can come to person, I'm like, I will. So I think we have to go to Perth. Because I kind of want to. He got to see my nan while she was still, like, quite well and stuff, and we thought she was doing a bit better, and then she got pneumonia and fluid on the lungs, and that brought back a lot of trauma because my other family members that have died in hospital, it was because they ended up with fluid on the lungs. That was one of the reasons. And she starts getting better, we keep going and seeing her, and then she suddenly ends up back in the hospital, and then they're talking about palliative care when the time comes. And so she was like, my main goal is to go home. I just want to go home for a little bit and then they're talking to her about this place. She said it looks really good, and then she said if I would rather stay in hospital for the rest of it. And that's when we knew things were getting really bad. So, meanwhile, last week was it? It was last week that she passed, but I think it was a couple days. Yeah, it was the Saturday. We were around visiting my pop, and I was put in charge, because I work 2 jobs, and I'm part of management in the job that I'm part-time at. I'm put in charge for the store for the weekend, and the Saturday my mum gets a call. She puts the phone on speaker. Me and Papa at the dining room table with her, and they said, we think that she's only got days. And this is the part that felt like the coolest fucking joke. It just felt like my world was absolutely falling apart. And then not even 2 minutes later, I get a text message from someone at work asking about the doctors for the following weekend that I was not in charge for, and about something else, and I'm like, this just feels like a cool joke, because I feel like my world's just been shattered. But no one else knows what's going on with me, because I'm not going to tell anyone younger than me what's going on. It's not their job to worry about me. I need to make sure that they can do their jobs. And they're asking me all these questions, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm like, that's not fair. Like, my world's falling apart, and their lives is just as normal. And so we all went up each day to visit her, and my cousin rang my mum and dad on Wednesday, because I had said to my mum, when you get the call, let me know. I'll drop everything. I'll leave work. I'll come straight away. My cousin rang my mum and said, we think it's getting really close. Like, you need to come. So she rings me. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. The next person is meant to take on after me doesn't start till 10:30, and when I say my heart dropped to my asshole, I mean my heart dropped to my asshole. Because I have my phone hooked up to the speaker at work so I could listen to music, because, you know, it's a store where you listen to music. And I'm like, disconnect that from the speaker, because no one else here needs to know my business. And she told me, I said, can you wait till 10:30, the next person will come in, I'll leave straight away, I don't want to leave the store, like, unattended. And she's like, yeah, well, I've got to wait for your dad anyway, so you get home. So I ring my boss to let her know what happened. My boss, she's my best friend, like, she's the best person ever. And she was like, yeah, all good. Keep me updated, let me know what you need. And then I'm like, trying to make drinks and stuff. And then I'm like, I feel like, oh, I need to call Corey. So I let him know. He just dropped his shit, left work, and went straight to the hospital. So we were with her for hours. Him and my dad went home because my dad works shift work hours, so he has to wake up at like midnight. And Mum and I stayed, and we were just all like bawling our eyes out and talking about things, and we were all having like little private moments with her, and she wasn't really awake for any of it. And then we decided we were going to come home, have dinner, and I was like, yeah, all good. So I'm doing the most cracked out thing, and I'm sure you thought I was going to run myself into the ground. I had a video to edit, so I'm like, rough edit. Okay, you look over this, tell me what I've missed, tell me what I need to fix. I'm going to sleep for the 13 minutes it takes you to look through this, wake me up when you're done. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. So he does that, he gives me a note, and he's like, there's only 2 things you need to fix. Fix those, and I said, here. It's now like 12, 11 minutes, watch this, I'll sleep for the 12 minutes. Because we were meant to go straight back to the hospital. And I'm like, I had such a bad migraine, I was dehydrated, you know. So I was like, I'm just going to try and get as much sleep as possible and get that done. And so then I finish that, and then I write something, I sleep for a minute, and I'm like, I think that's what screwed me up for the rest of the week. Because I know that I've been sleeping, but I don't think it's been actual deep, restful sleep. But I could just feel you being like, I hope to God you're not going to keep going like this. But, like, there were things that needed to get done. Like, just because my life is falling apart doesn't mean I can push all my other work to the side. Like, I needed to, get stuff done for work. I needed to edit a video. I needed to work on a script. And then I also needed to look into other things. And it was just like, okay, what can I do that he can then check over? Because I knew me, if I looked at it non-stop, I wasn't going to rest and I was just going to mess up what I was doing. And we lost her that day. Well, mine died. We lost her that day morning. Because Mum said we're not going to go back in, but if anything changes, they'll call us, we'll go straight back up, like, if we have time. And so I made a pact with everyone, if for some reason in our sleep or something we get a gut feeling, we wake up, we wake everyone else up, we go straight there. I'm normally, like, pretty in touch with that stuff. Had no feeling. Corey had no feeling. Mum said she had a slight thing, but she just ignored it and chalked it up to nerves. And my cousin messaged her and said, oh, when are you guys thinking of coming back up? And within, like, 20 minutes, she was gone. And we didn't end up going back up because from where we lived to the hospital, it was near enough an hour and a half. An hour and 45 minute drive, and the thought of going there and just her not actually being there, we just couldn't do it. So we just stayed home, we wallowed, and we started getting on with things. It was definitely, it still is hard. It's never not going to be hard. And I know that some people are probably like, oh, you've been through this so many times with family members. It doesn't matter what age you get, it never gets easier. Like, it still hurts just as much as it did losing my great-grandparents when I was, like, 4 and 7. It hurts just as much as when I lost my grandfather when I was 10. It hurts just as much as when I lost my grandmother on my 12th birthday. Jumping in and editing today, it still hurts just as much as when I lost my uncle not long before my 19th birthday. And yeah, that's just been life. So there's going to be quite a few videos in the future where I'm talking about loss and dealing with loss and the hardest part of loss. Because so much of my creativeness and my inspiration came from my nan, but also the environment around me. And it feels inauthentic to not share that part, because I know everyone goes through it. How have you been coping with everything?
Yeah. Just working. That's pretty much it. Comforting you. Yeah.
And feeling a little bit sad?
Yeah. I'm just sad. But that's life. Like, you know, shit's gonna happen.
I feel like it's gonna hit you pretty hard at the funeral. I feel like it's gonna hit all of us really hard. Jumping in again while editing, I just want to say my husband's not an asshole. He did feel this loss quite a bit. He's one of these people, he's not very good at talking about his feelings, or he's not very good at naming his feelings, but it did hit him a lot. Like, he loved my family. He got really close with my nana, especially my pop. So it did hit him a lot, and obviously this was filmed either that night or the next day. Everything's been kind of a blur since then, and he was feeling a lot of it, but he was just trying to, like, be there for me. So apologies if he seemed very, like, rude or dismissive here. He really just doesn't know what to say, and I don't blame him. Like, you know, it's always hard, and, you know, you never want to say the wrong thing, so sometimes it's easier to just not say a lot. But yeah, he did feel this a lot. Okay. Yes. What are you doing?
Putting this on charge because it's dead.
Fair enough. Okay, so you've supported me through everything.
Mm.
From updating to me starting to write a book to me getting multiple jobs, me getting promoted up while still working on a book and dealing with all this other stuff. Did you ever feel like I had taken on too much all at once?
Some days I'm like, you know, woo, Bessie, but, you know, if I say that, you're just gonna go, I know what I'm doing. I'm an independent woman.
I never know what I'm doing. I make it very known that I don't know what I'm doing.
But yeah, somehow and I don't know how, you do find your way and your way out of it, and you do it, and you do come stressed, but
I work best under chaotic, stressful environments.
I give you a pat, and it was that. It's okay.
Ow!
Close your forehead.
Bro!
It's a big target. It's meant to go for your head.
But yeah, I actually finished writing draft 1. I think it was on the Tuesday.
You stayed at 2 o'clock in the morning to finish it.
Because I kept hoping that my nan would have a day or a couple hours where she would loosen enough and maybe she'd be able to read it. So she was so excited that I would actually doing this and keep myself occupied. And I always wanted her to read it, but didn't end up being. And 2 o'clock in the morning, I ordered these copies of my draft from Office Work. Cost me like $308. It was 4 copies with the actual binding and the cover.
Jesus.
And she never got to read it, and I kept praying it would get ready in time, and then they kept saying, oh yeah, it won't be ready to be picked up until Friday. I'm in the hospital bawling my eyes out, get a text message, check my phone, and it says your thing is ready to be picked up. And so I went, oh yeah, we can pick it up on the way back, and we didn't get a chance to do that. So we went to Office Works in Belconnen before we went to see my pop to make sure he was okay and to keep him company. And I'm bawling my eyes out going, oh my god, there's going to be 4 copies and one of them never going to be touched. One of them never going to be seen by the person that's meant to have it. So, try not to cry. I only just got my nose
Sniffling.
But what I did was I wrote Nan copy Love Away from Forever Cheyenne, and we're going to put it in a box with some purple flowers because it's her favourite colour. I finished it. I finished it while she was still alive. And I'm proud of myself for it. I actually, in all my years of reading and writing, this is the first story I've started writing that I actually finished. That wasn't a short story for a contest.
And you wanted to finish it, so you stayed up at 2 o'clock in the morning while I was passed out.
Yeah, and then you kept waking up every couple of minutes, like... just go to bed.
Yeah, because I had to go to work.
Yeah. So did I. Okay. So, how have you actually been coping? What has been the hardest part of everything for you, and what have you been doing to cope? You can hold.
Well, I don't know. I've just been working. I don't know if that's my coping mechanism, but yeah, just work and then coming home. Pretty much just the same routine, just yeah.
Finding comfort in normalcy.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's my...
You try to keep things as normal as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
You were writing the eulogy. Why? Why didn't anyone else? Why did you want to? Why did you get to? Did you? Did you have a choice? That is a loaded question right there. shotgun.
Okay, so basically my mum started writing the eulogy, but she was really upset, like she was doing it the night of, and she was just writing down a bunch of her thoughts, and they weren't in order, and she was proud of me for writing the book, and I've always been really good at reading and writing, like English was my best subject in school, like I love creative writing and stuff. So she was like, I've written down stuff, I just need it published and put into order, can you do that? And so I just, the next day, spent hours just making sure everything was perfect, adding in touches from everyone that everyone wanted mentioned, and it's 4 pages, nearly 5 pages long, and it was hard to write because at certain parts when you're just like thinking back on things, you want to cry, but you're just like, no, I want to finish writing this. But it was also a good way to talk about her, make sure she was talked about as highly as she should be, but also to convey her story in a way that I thought was tasteful. And you know, everyone else in the family, they all work full time. I work part time at one job, and I work 1 shift a week at the other job. So I work maybe 25, 30 hours a week if I have to do overtime to do stock take at the part time job. So I had the skill and the time to do it. But it was also a good way for me to process my feelings, because I was able to remember her, remember the stories that I'd grown up with her telling me, and just add little bits and pieces of her personality into those. Like, she always used to say, because she loved Alan Jackson, I would sleep with him, I would do him, but he'd have to keep the cowboy hat on. So I mentioned how much she loved him. She had all his CDs and even his DVD, and I put at the end there, may he forever keep his hat on for her. Because, you know, it's not like an overly dirty joke, but if you know what it means, you know.
If you know, you know. You should, you know.
Yeah. And there's a couple of things, like stories, and I just wanted them told, not in a rambly way, but in a way that was clear and concise. But if people wanted to talk more about them, you can talk about them at the wake, the celebration of life afterwards. I think the hardest part is just figuring out how to move on with life after this. Hope you enjoyed this video.